Anfield is readying itself to welcome the Champions League finalists. Yes, Liverpool will be heading to Paris for an end-of-season showdown with Real Madrid. But there is plenty to be boxed off first before the flight to France. Next weekend is the FA Cup final. This weekend it is all about the Premier League. The title race continues tonight as Spurs visit Merseyside. This one could be the toughest test left for the Reds as they look to pit Man City to the trophy. It is Liverpool taking on Tottenham Hotspur. It's a rare Saturday night 7:45 kickoff. We'll be live over on LFC TV to build up to the action from 6:45. Welcome along to Anfield, down to our Matchday Live preview with our friends at Standard Chartered. Don't you just love it when all the preparation goes out the window and they test the tannoy at exactly the moment?
What are you saying, mate? What are you saying?
Stephen and Jermaine are down pitchside with me, the course of Matchday Live. They're with me here now as well. We will get... he stopped. That's nice. I'll try that again. Welcome, gentlemen. We will get to Spurs very shortly, but we should reflect on a momentous midweek yet again for the Reds. Stephen, you were over in Spain for the game against Villarreal in the Champions League that booked our place in the final. A game of very much of two halves. What happened in the first half?
To be honest with you, I think it was just one of those performances where you say very un-Liverpool-like, very characteristic. I don't think you'll see it again for a long time, but maybe the players just thought the occasion would be too much for Villarreal and that it would be... Let's be honest, they didn't show anything here that we were worried about. We didn't think they'd cause any problems. But fair play to them, they came out, they gave everything in that first half, but they almost went too much into it and sort of blew the tank, if you like, and that was that. But the team talk from Jurgen Klopp at half-time, how many times have we seen it where we think loads of personnel need changing, but he doesn't change too many. He changed Diaz, and that was the only change, and it had a huge influence on the game.
Yeah, that's the difference, I guess, isn't it? Is Liverpool have extra gears to go through, and they have extra options to change a game, and in Luis Diaz, he has been the absolute diamond that sort of changed the direction a little bit in the second half of the season.
Yeah, he's been an absolute, a breath of fresh air since he's come to the club. He's just, you'd think he's been here a few seasons, not in January. So it's fantastic, and what he gives you, he stretches the defence. He can run behind, he dribbles. He puts the defence on their back foot where, sometimes Jota doesn't, when he plays out there, hasn't got that, or Sadio sometimes doesn't really do that, but he's direct. He's an old-fashioned direct winger, but also got the potential, the skill to come inside and cause havoc that way. And like I said, when he comes on, he does change the game.
Yeah, we're just looking through the highlights of the game. Villarreal put so much into that first half. Yes, eventually maybe they were spent a little bit in the second half, but they did enough to give us a little bit of a fright.
Yeah, they did, and I think we were probably a little bit blasé about them because of what we didn't see in the home leg. And you're thinking, well, they're not going to cause too many problems, but they get to the Champions League semi-final for a reason. They deserve the respect, and then obviously that comeback was incredible. But they were very, very good in the first half. But I thought we were very, very bad. It was a really poor performance. Too many off games on the night. But you look at Alisson's save again when it's at 2-0, and you just think what a huge moment in the game to keep the scoreline at 2-2 to give the team a chance to come back into the game.
Speaking of very, very bad, Geronimo, the Argentinian goalkeeper, that was not a good game for him. He will not be popular over at that club just now. No. In terms of what lies ahead now, we thought at one stage it would be Manchester City, and it is now Real Madrid. Good, bad, better, worse? How do you view it?
Well, do you know what? I would have wanted Real Madrid going into the final, but seeing now what they've done to Chelsea, the late comebacks and the way they never die, they never give up, and see what they've done to Man City, I'm a little bit sitting on the fence. It's not going to be an easy game, but with Man City, it's like head-to-head. It's locking, very hard to beat them. Vice versa, it's really tough. They know us, we know them. Madrid, they will be the underdogs, I feel, going into the final. So overall, I'm happy with the Madrid draw, but it's going to be now seeing them over them two legs with Chelsea and Man City. I'm now worried than what I was, put it that way.
I think the big thing when you play Manchester City is you don't want to lose to your main competitor at the moment, do you? It's hard to take because the one thing we don't want to see as Liverpool fans is Manchester City win the European Cup, win the Champions League. It strengthens their domination. It gives them the power to buy more players, even though they've got that power with the spending that they've got. But it gives them a history. We don't want them to have that history. We want to be greedy and we want to take it for ourselves. And Real Madrid will be exactly the same. But I think it's the better tie for us. I think we'd be more clinical than Manchester City are against Real Madrid.
Obviously, this is a repeat of the final from 2018 when Madrid beat us by 3-1. There's probably 6 of our boys who started that day who could very well start this one, probably a similar amount of Madrid players. Does that have a factor? You had a similar situation from 2005 to 2007 when you played in that final.
Yeah, 100%. You know, Salah's already came out saying, you know, the rematch is on and how much he's looking forward to it. And it was the same when we played AC Milan in the 2007 one. What we did in the 3-3 to win it, you know, I think left a lasting scar on them. And they wanted to, when they got to the final and they knew it was against Liverpool, they wanted to make amends. You could tell the build-up, what you could hear around the place and the way they did come out. Even though we was the better team in the second game, the way they came out and the way they celebrated when they won, it was like their first ever Champions League final. So, yeah, I think some of our players will relish the challenge and looking forward to repaying that final that we lost in, even though there was a dominant team. But yeah, it's going to be a great game. I
think the big thing is when you look at this game, it was littered with errors, wasn't it? I mean, obviously Karius has had a tough time in the game, but when you think about when Salah came off, there was no real sort of like-for-like change, whereas you look at the squad now and you look at the changes we can make within off the bench, this is a much stronger squad now. This has got the capability to lose players, which you don't want to happen, but it's got that capability now, and he's got the capability off the bench to change game with the 5 substitutions. We've seen it time and time again throughout this campaign itself, that the changes have been huge.
Well, you mentioned that the bench for that game in Kiev that day was Mignolet, Klein, Klavan, Moreno, Lallana, Emre Can and Solanke. No disrespect to the boys there, but it's up a couple of levels from then. The one problem we have perhaps is the fact that Carlo Ancelotti is in the dugout. He's only lost 5 of his games in his career against Liverpool as a manager. He is a very shrewd operator and that could be a huge factor.
Yeah, he knows this competition, you know, like the back of his hand. He's a masterclass in it. He gets his selections right, his tactics. He will be studying Liverpool like never believed, and he will have every dot ticked, every I crossed. We're going to have to be clinical, like Steven said. We have to be clinical and not waste chances like Man City, because if you give a glimmer of hope to Real Madrid, they will go to the death. They will go to the last minute and come back and punish you, because they've got also world-class strikers who we've seen throughout their 2 games they played.
Yeah, and the way they've got through the last 3 games, where they've been second best for the last 3 rounds, they've somehow found a way that'll keep them going right until the last. This is a job you have to scout today, and you cannot switch off no matter what stage you get to until that whistle blows.
And again, you talk about the substitutions that we've got at our disposal, and you think of Rodrigo coming on the other night. They've got quality as well. You look at the substitutions that they were able to make in the game. They've got an aging squad, a very aging squad. The midfield's old, Benzema's old, but that comes with experience as well. Comes with experience how to play in these games. They won't feel the pressure of these games. They'll embrace that pressure. So for them, it's not a problem. Now, to outrun Liverpool's midfield, outwork them, that's a different matter, but they're very, very clever players.
They certainly are. OK, so a massive game to look forward to at the end of May. But we've only got a couple of hours to wait until another huge encounter for Jurgen Klopp's men. We'll hear from the boss in a minute or 2. But first, here's Peter McDowell with what's in store here this evening.
Thank you, guys. Welcome inside the tunnel, where the players will arrive just a few yards away from where we're stood at the moment in the next half hour. Premier League season on the line for both teams, and the second time in a week that Liverpool have the opportunity to put pressure on Manchester City. A Spurs team that have really flattered to deceive on quite a few occasions, but they know they have real tools in their armoury to cause Liverpool problems here tonight. And they know, a bit like Liverpool, that they've got a team above them that keep on winning, so a defeat here would be very costly ahead of that North London derby that happens on Thursday night. In this interview area at Villarreal, Liverpool players had bounced through there. These games can't come soon enough for them in that confidence patch that they're in at the moment. So a really interesting one ahead tonight. Where injuries are concerned, fully fit squad, apart from Roberto Firmino. Slight question mark over him, a foot injury that is more likely to see him saved until Tuesday night. He did train on Thursday, did train on Friday, but in the moment that Liverpool are in, and you know what Jurgen Klopp is like, he very rarely takes risks on players. He might just be in a mind to save him for Aston Villa. We'll get the team news confirmed for you an hour before kick-off, but a word from the manager on the Spurs game in just a moment. But first, Madrid in the final, and those comments from Mo Salah about a revenge mission from 2018.
When we lost that final, actually, my favourite solution would have been, let's play the final again next year, and it's against Real Madrid. To be honest, that was in that moment. So, but we faced Tottenham, which was absolutely fine in Madrid. So Madrid seems to be our destiny, and it was strange and unlucky for City, but what Madrid did is outstanding. So they got through against PSG, against Chelsea, and against City. We said it before when we play Villarreal, if you knock out Juve and Bayern, yeah, you deserve to be in the semi-final. I said, if you knock out these three guys, then you deserve definitely to be in the final. They are now the massive favourites, all the experience they have and all this kind of thing. So we are more experienced than we were, probably, but it's obviously not to compare. A lot of players are still in for them, for us, which is a good sign as well, obviously. Yeah, it will be great.
A lot of people are seeing this as maybe your biggest threat, the biggest potential banana slip, I suppose. So what do you see as their main challenge to you this weekend?
The main challenge is the quality of the opponent. Yeah? So, and when you think about how Tottenham wins the games, of course they have a brilliant football team, but the way they set it up with the 5 and then I want to see it offensively or defensively with the 4 and the 1 or with the 2 and the 3, and all up front, speed like crazy. Harry Kane, what a player, and obviously fits in that idea extremely well. There's a blind understanding between them and these kind of things. So I say it is probably the biggest challenge for protection we face for a long time. Because each mistake you make there, we have to win a football game. You have to create. You have to be high up the pitch. That's where you score the goals. The moment you lose it, you should be immediately around all of them immediately, and that's difficult. So we have to. That's just football. We have to find a way to keep them calm as often as possible, because it will not be possible all the time.
Yes, I suppose the challenge here tonight, a huge game for both these sides, of course. Liverpool pushing for the Premier League title and Spurs pushing to get into the Champions League positions. This is how the table looks right now. There's one game being played at the moment. Brighton are currently leading Manchester United. So tight just now between Arsenal and Spurs in the race for that 4th place. Do we see it as a straight shootout now, Stephen, between those two sides with the games that remain?
Well, I think so, and it looks like pretty much a lot could hinge on Thursday night's game where they play each other. It's Arsenal and Spurs. The interesting part now is who finishes 3rd. You look at Chelsea and they've dropped points again today. So, but no, I think obviously depends on the result tonight in this game. And Leeds go to Arsenal tomorrow. They're fighting for survival. There's still a lot riding on the season. Still plenty of points to play for. But it's definitely between those two teams for the 4th.
Antonio Conte seems to be very up, very down. 1 minute he's loving it. 1 minute he looks like he's about to chuck it. At the moment he seems to be relatively happy. And if he's in a decent place, that bodes well for Spurs because he's a top level manager.
Yeah, he's a great manager. And you're correct there that. You can have an amazing super Spurs team, or you can have a bang average team. So hopefully we get the latter. But when he gets everything right, he's got his team organised well. Defensively, they're good, and we already know about the front two. Great pairing, Kane and Song are obviously one to look out. But just where hopefully the Spurs that do arrive today. Is the ones that we,
They've got a very bad record here, Spurs, generally speaking, but this season yet to lose against the top 2 teams. So that shows there is quality there, and also that the Conte can set up a team for a game.
Look, they've gone to Man City and took points. They won there, and not many teams have done that this season or over the past few seasons. So there are no pushovers, there are no walkovers. So we've got to take this game, you know, like we're playing City, like we're playing, you know, Chelsea. It's a really big game, and it's going to be a tough one for us.
Is the pace of Heung-min Son one of the real dangers for us tonight, and also the fact he carries a real goal threat? It's 19 Premier League goals, his best return in a Spurs shirt.
Well, that relationship between Son and Kane's incredible, isn't it? Harry Kane likes to come short, and Son makes the runs in behind, but don't shy away from Kulusevski as well. He's been phenomenal since he came into the club. I think originally they were looking at him to play in the wing-back position. They fancied him there, but then he hit the ground running, playing in that wide right position. They're a forward three that'll rival any forward three in world football at the moment. So you've got to be at your best. The main thing is, and we've seen it in recent weeks when Spurs played against Brighton, he played against Brentford, when he didn't score in either game, didn't have a shot on goal in both games, was stop the supply line into Harry Kane. He's your creator. We talk about him being this great goal scorer, but he's one of the best creators in the Premier League as well. He's the danger. You've got to stop him feeding those two players.
Yeah, he's been involved in 9 goals in 13 Premier League appearances against Liverpool, Jermaine. And he's much more than a goal scorer now, isn't he? That, as Stephen points out, he's the guy who pulls it all together and makes other players play.
Yeah, it's an amazing attribute that he's got. You know, he's the focal point, but then he's also the playmaker. So how do you stop that? He's got this drop into the middle of the park, spraying the ball about. You know, his assists are crazy, and his link-up play with Son is frightening. And like Stephen said again, you know, there's not many better pairings in the league and them pair. You know, 3 goals with Son behind Salah for the Golden Boot. It's frightening. 36 goals pairing with goals and assists this season. So if we keep them quiet, then, you know, half the job's done.
Of course, they also have to keep us quiet. Liverpool have scored 139 goals in all competitions this season, the most they've ever scored in this season. Nearly 2.5 goals per game. That is a huge challenge for them.
It is. It's a big ask. I think defensively they've improved. I think Romero's an outstanding defender. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's been brilliant coming into that right side of the 3. If you're looking for weaknesses, it's the wing-back positions. They need new wing-backs. I'm sure that's something that they'll look to improve on in the summer. But that's where you'll get the joy tonight, with our full-backs going forward, making sure that they're getting down the line, getting crosses in, 2v1s down that side, and making sure that they create opportunities as they have done so often.
Big game in store for us here tonight. Gentlemen, thank you for your time for the moment. That's us done for just now, but we've got your Saturday night sorted for you on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. Our Match Day Live coverage begins with a full hour's build-up at 6:45 UK time. We'll hear more from the boss, as well as from Andy Robertson, and John Barnes will be on hand to give us his thoughts on tonight's game as well. Then there's live audio commentary of every kick of the game from 7:45, and the post-match reaction show to come at full time too. We hope to see you then. Goodbye.